Kasuku where, Harrison? Tell us where Kasuku is. I'd love to know where Kasuku is. Nyandarua is very, Kasuku, oh, in Nyandarua. Thank you so much for that. So, a very warm welcome. Where? Okay, I thought I've disappeared. Very warm welcome once again to the 5th HR Forum. To those who are joining us for the first time, HRM organized for the free forum for members who did not manage to get their 10 CPD points to allow them renew their membership. That's why we've been running this program since February, and this is the 5th one to allow members pay for their membership. So if you're not a member or you are not a HR professional, allow me to tell you or to inform you about HRM. The Institute of Human Resource Management is a statutory professional body. It is established under the Human Resource Management Professionals Act number 52 of 2012. And it is a state corporation under the Ministry of Public Service, Performance and Delivery Management. And our CS is Mrs. Kuria. So the core mandate of the Institute under the laws of Kenya as the regulatory body, HRM is mandated to register HR professionals. So if you're a HR professional and you're not a member, please make sure that you register with us. It is a requirement by the law that if you're a HR professional, you register with the Institute. We register professionals, we issue practicing certificates, we offer CPD, the continuing professional development, the short trainings that we normally have. We have our calendar, CPD calendar is on the website. And also we maintain discipline and governance in the HR profession and also promote standards of HR practices in Kenya. As I say, this is the HR body in Kenya. I always say, or clarify or try to give an example with ISPAC, like we are like ISPAC with accountant, HRM for HR. This is for those who are joining us for the first time and those who are not members, for them to know. I assume all members know what we do, but it's always good to remind. Even the Bible says, remind them. The Institute has 4 established regions across the country. We have Nyanza Western region, we have Nairobi Central and Northeastern region, we have Coast Eastern region, and also Rift Valley region. Across this region, we have around 16 branches where you can reach out to the officials and you get to know more about HRM. Or if you do not belong to any branch and you're a member, please make sure that you reach out to your member or your branch officials to join the membership, to join that branch, because they normally organize for the free forum, for the training, yes, for members. So up to there, allow me, I hope there's no question. If you have any question, and I hope I was audible because someone is telling me that, yes, I'm at 100%, that means I'm audible. Please let me know that I'm audible. Somebody just to confirm to me that you can hear what I'm saying.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much. I'm glad. At times you might be speaking, kumbe you're talking to yourself. So today, ni ile siku, kamilisha methali. Kulipa ushuru ni kamilisha. So today is the day in partnership with KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority. I'm glad to inform you that we have a webinar free forum for members. But those who are not members, or those who are joining us for the first time today, we love our members, and that's why we organize such free forums for members. Like today, we've partnered with KRA. Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. So that's the topic of today. And the speaker is there waiting to take us through what this personal, is it personal? Yes, that PAYE. I always wonder why PAYE, my pay is always high. It's like I'm working for KRA. Anyway, don't report me to KRA, the speaker. It is too high. And also the personal, people get confused. I always tell our finance people that once you're done with my payslip, give it to me, because the deductions, there are too much that at times I get confused. I tell them, once you're done with my payslip, give it to me, I will file. Maybe later on I can go through to see what have been deducted. To take us through today is Paris Mukoko. Paris Mukoko is a seasoned professional with a decade of experience at the Kenya Revenue Authority in the Domestic Taxes Department, specializing in the stakeholder engagement. Committed to excellence, Paris is dedicated to providing effective tax solutions and services within the ever-evolving regulatory landscapes, ensuring optimal outcomes for all stakeholders involved. So Paris is there to take us through the taxes, individual taxes. Paris, we are here. I'm one of the individuals. We would like to listen to you. You take us through one by one and tell us why you're taxing, the tax is so high anyway. Thank you so much. Let's welcome Paris. Please, let's clap for her. Let's write something. And by the way, this month is women. We are still celebrating women. So let's continue celebrating our ladies. It is our month. So gentlemen, msikuwe na waru. Just congratulate us or say something to us. So Paris, karibu sana. Please take over. Asanteni.
Thank you very much, Milka. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paris Mukoko. As earlier mentioned by Milka, I am from Kenya Revenue Authority, Domestic Taxes Department, and I'm here to assure you that we are here to simplify or to just ensure that you're able to understand the individual taxes and more so the pay as you earn, which falls under the individual taxes. So please be rest assured that Milka, yes, I will answer the questions to the best of my capability and also ensure that all of you are confident enough to file your returns by the end of this session. Please note that if you have any questions, kindly use the chat box and I'll be able to answer it at the end of the session. I will also take you through on how to file your returns and how to log on to iTax. In case of any questions, please be assured that we're here to walk with you through this journey. I'm joined here with some of my colleagues who are listening in, and at the end of the junction, in case of any clarifications, we'll be able to assist as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, most of you are human resource management practitioners, and most of the times you always come to the matters that always arise around individual taxes, and more so PAYE, because you find most of the colleagues or most of the people always come and ask, mbona ninakatwa hii ushuru? And why is it that so and so is taxed at this level and another one is taxed at different levels? So I am here to simplify it in accordance with the Act. Now, the areas of focus that we'll go through here, I believe you can all hear me loud and clear. Milka, kindly confirm.
Yes, you're very loud and clear, Paris.
Thank you very
Confirmed.
much. Asante. Now, the areas of focus I will walk you through is the tax cycle to understand what is PAYE, what is pay as you earn, who is eligible for PAYE registration, the taxable employment income, the tax relief, the Finance Act 2023, the PAYE tax bans as of 1st of July 2023, tax amnesty, and of course, the integrity and access to information that we as KRA have in place. Now, when we come to the tax cycle, of course, the first step is you have to register as a taxpayer. Any individual who is employed, be it a resident or non-resident, they have to register for a PIN. So you register as a taxpayer and you get a unique PIN number that automatically enables you to file your tax returns, pay your taxes as and when they fall due, and deal with tax matters that arise. Now, most of the questions that always come up is, what is PAYE? Of course, PAYE is a method of collecting tax from individuals, both residents and non-residents, as earlier mentioned, in gainful employment. What is gains or profit? These include wages, casual wages, salary, leave pay, sick pay, payment in lieu of leave, fees, commission, bonus, gratuity, or subsistence, traveling, entertainment, or other allowances received in respect of employment or services rendered. I believe I am speaking to the choir in terms of when it comes to the gains profits. All this as HR professionals is a terminologies that you're all familiar with. Now, tax rates, kindly note, are graduated from 10% to 35% and are applicable to employment income of above 24,000 shillings per month. This was as per 1st of July 2023, in line with the Act of the Finance Act. Now, who is eligible for PAYE registration? This is any person who pays emoluments to an employee or employees is required to register for the PAYE obligation, upon which the person is required to, 1, deduct tax from the employee or employees' emoluments, which are salary, fee, or profit from employment or office. Then you're required to actually remit the tax deducted to the Kenya Revenue Authority, who is a collecting agent on behalf of the government. As an employer, you are required to deduct PAYE from your employee's salary and wages at the prevailing rates and remit the same to KRA on or before the 9th of the following month. For example, today is 15th of March 2024. I believe everyone has already filed the returns for February that fell due on 9th of March 2024. And the PAYE for the month of March 2024 will fall due on or before 9th of April 2024, meaning you have between 1st of April to 9th of April to file and pay the return, file your return and pay the tax amount that is due. Now, taxable employment income. This includes all cash payments, however described, and the value of non-cash benefits that exceed 3,000 shillings per month. Now, cash pay includes wages, salary, sick pay, leave pay, face commissions, bonuses, service gratuity, allowances, directors' fees, overtime, pension, entertainment, and any other payment received in respect of employment. Any excess mileage, reimbursement to employee based on the rates that are higher than AA Kenya rates will be taxable on the employee as of 1st July 2023. Club entrance and subscription fees shall be treated as taxable income the way it has been defined, to the extent that the expenses have been allowed against the employee's income. Charged bonuses on both residents and non-residents. Tax accounted for by employees only. These are taxable employment income. Excuse me. Now, In the previous slide, we talked about non-cash benefits, which are chargeable to tax. So these are gains or profits from employment that are not paid in cash or chargeable to tax, such as gains or profits. These are, as examples, where you provide an employee with the vehicle from the employer that is deemed as a car benefit, and its provision of housing by the employer. Loans at interest rates lower than prevailing market rate are considered as fringe benefits, which are non-cash benefits, which are still chargeable to tax. Household utilities that include telephone, electricity, water, security, domestic expenses in excess of the allowable limit of 3,000 shillings per month. Up to there, we are all together, Milka? I believe we are.
Yes, we had. Feris, go ahead.
Excellent. Now, the other one is pension contribution paid by a tax-exempt employer to an unregistered scheme. We'll expound further on that when we proceed to the presentation further. The other thing is pension contribution paid by an employer to a registered or unregistered scheme in the excess of the allowable amount of 20,000 Kenya shillings or 240,000 shillings per year. That is 20,000 Kenya shillings times the 12 months of the year, which give us the 240,000 shillings per year. Now, car benefits. It is valued at the higher of the commissioner's prescribed value and 2% per month of the initial capital cost. Where, for example, a vehicle is leased, the benefit value is the higher of the prescribed rates and lease hire cost. The restricted use may be allowed by the commissioner upon application, meaning you must write to the commissioner for the commissioner to actually approve when you're looking for the restricted use. Now, excuse me. Sorry. Now, when it comes to the housing, we look at the owner director of a company, for example, the hire of 15% over total income, market rental value, or rent paid by the employer. The whole-time service director, as an example, which is the higher of the 15% of the employment income, the market rental value, or rent paid by the employer. Now, when it comes to the employees, it is the greater of the 15% of the employment income and actual rent paid at arm's length where premises are owned by the employer, the rental market value is taken. For agricultural employees, it's 10% of the employment income, which is required to reside at the farm. This is where you find most of the farmers who actually work in, for example, some of the coffee farms or some of the tea farms or some of the agricultural farms where they actually reside at the farm. Please note, where premises are occupied for part of the year, the benefit is apportioned accordingly. So if someone has occupied the house for, let's say, 3 months out of the 12 months, it is definitely apportioned as part of the year. And any rent paid by the employee to the employer is deducted from the total housing benefit. Excuse me for that. Now, we come to the next slide. And here we touch on, excuse me for that. Milka, just give me a bit. I take some water to clear my throat.
That's okay, Paris. That's okay. Members, I hope you are listening. I can see a question from Marianne already asking, airtime allowance also subjected to pay? You will be answered. This one, Paris has to answer. Even we have questions that are, they have to tell us what is happening or what we should know and what we should not. Yes, should be deducted from our pay slips. So Paris, so far so good, but members have questions. Yes, in terms of the deductions, night out, I can see the next slide here. Night out per day supposed to be deducted. Seriously, we have an issue there. But anyway, continue. Can you deduct my
Milk.
2,000? Continue.
Thank you very much, Milka. And members, keep those questions coming. We're here to ensure that you understand that we're here to sensitize you. We're here to empower you with the knowledge. We're here to equip you with the right form of taxation so that when you go down to your employees, you simplify it as the way we have passed it on to you in accordance with the Act. Now, here under the employment income, which is not chargeable to payee, for example, meals provided by the employer up to a maximum of 4,000 shillings per month or 48,000 shillings per year. Now, Milka, the night out of 2,000 shillings per day. So, of course, if when it comes to the night out, I know most of us would like to know which one is allowed, which one is not allowed, which one is chargeable to pay, which one is not chargeable to claim. Now, we already know that in the employment income, the 2,000 shillings is not chargeable to pay. But the minute it crosses to 2,000 shillings and one, it is chargeable to pay. Now, the third one is amounts that are mere reimbursements of expenses, e.g. subsistence allowances on official duty. These are per diems or mileage allowances. They're not considered taxable pay because they're basically reimbursement expenses. Medical cover by the employee is not chargeable to pay. Pension contributions made by an employer who is a person chargeable to tax to a registered or unregistered scheme that is within the allowable limit of 20,000 Kenya shillings or 240,000 Kenya shillings per year. Now, most of us in line with the Employment Act, we definitely have persons living with disability within our organizations. And persons living with disability or PWDs are granted tax exemptions on their monthly or annual income by the employer if they have a valid tax exemption certificate. This exemption applies to the first 150,000 shillings per month or for the first 1.8 million shillings per annum. That is 150,000 times 12. As long as they have a valid tax exemption certificate, which is issued and is valid for 5 years. When an employee fails or there's failure to provide these exemptions, will lead to refunds accrued to the respective employee for the said year. Now, the allowable deductions. We've already touched on the disallowable and now we're on the allowable deductions. Mortgage interest deductions. So if there's interest paid on an amount borrowed from a financial institute to finance either the purchase or improvement of premises occupied for residential purposes, is deductible against employment income up to a maximum of 300,000 shillings per annum. The other one is deducted against the gross employment income. Pension contributions by an employee to a registered pension fund. Key is registered pension fund. This is an allowable deduction against the taxable employment income, but up to a maximum of 20,000 shillings per month. Of course, as KRA, as much as we all have this perception that we take, we also have the tax relief. And this relief falls under the insurance relief, in which the employer is required to grant relief to any employee who has insurance policies on life, health, and education for the individual, his wife, husband, or child. The relief is to be given at 15% of the premium paid, up to a maximum of 60,000 Kenya shillings per annum. Also, the policy maturity period must be of at least 10 years. So you cannot come with an insurance policy of 5 years and claim that you'd like the 15% relief. Of course, the maximum of 6,000 shillings per annum is equivalent to 5,000 shillings per month. Now, insurance relief on contributions to the National Hospital Insurance Fund that we all are familiar with. The Act also has been amended to provide for insurance relief to persons making contributions to the National Hospital Insurance Fund. This is to extend the insurance relief to individuals who pay premiums for health insurance to NHIF. We continue still on tax relief and tax relief on post-retirement medical fund contribution. The Finance Act as of 2023 has introduced a new tax relief on post-retirement medical fund. The post-retirement medical fund relief shall be 15% of the amount of contribution paid, or 60,000 shillings per annum, whichever is higher, with effect from 1st of January 2023, and that is something that we've also rolled over into 2024. Now, when we come to monthly tax relief, this relief is meant to lighten the tax burden on the taxpayer. The current monthly relief is 2,400 shillings per month. Now, when a resident individual, I say resident individual, that means that is someone who is in Kenya and when a resident individual is not granted personal relief by the employer during the year, he or she will be entitled to a refund at the end of the same year. Now, the refund per month is 2,400. And when you look at it for the year, because all of us are filing on end of year individual return, it comes to a total of 28,800 shillings for the year. Now, under the Finance Act 2023, Section 5, which is about income from employment, it states that the Act has, the Act has amended Section 5 by introducing the following new subsections. Section 2A(4), which excludes amounts received by an employee as payment of traveling allowance to perform official duties from taxation as gains and profits from employment. This is a reimbursement of the amount so expended. This allowance shall be based on the standard mileage rate approved by the Automobile Association of Kenya, also known as AA Kenya. The other amendment is under Section 2F, which states to provide for taxation of club entrance and subscription fee allowed against the employer's income on the employee. The other amended is subsection 6C.1 to clarify that the date to be considered when determining the market value of a share is the date when the employee exercises the option as opposed to date the shares are granted by the employer. This is meant to align the date of determining the market value to the change introduced to Section 5(5)(a) by the Finance Act 2022 in determining the value of the benefit in an employee share ownership plan. The other amendment is Section 6, Part C.2 to align the date and to remove the requirement for the price to be agreed upon with the commissioner where the shares are not fully listed. Now, under the PAYE bans as of 1st July 2023, Milka and team, this is basically what we'll say. This is your reference guide. Or if most of us like to say, this is where we're able to guide whenever most of the employees always walk and ask, how comes now that I have moved from 24,000, now I have moved up by 1,000, I am being taxed, and at what rate? This is where we're able to guide them. The monthly bans on the first 24,000 Kenya shillings, we're looking at monthly. It's at a rate of 10%. On the next 8,333, meaning if they are earning, and we will demonstrate it as we proceed. So if they are earning 24,000 and they have gotten a salary bump to, let's say, 35,000 Kenya shillings, the first 24,000 will be taxed at 10%. And the next 8,333 will be taxed at 25%. And then on the next amount, it is taxed at 30%. So it becomes a graduated. And please note, the monthly tax relief is at 24,000 Kenya shillings. Sorry, 2,400 Kenya shillings. I repeat, the relief is at 2,400 shillings. And for the annual relief is at 28,800. When you're looking at the annual pay bands, of course, they also vary, but they are still used and calculated as per the graduated scale from 10, 24, 30, 32.5, and 35%. In the next, as we proceed, we'll be able to show you how to calculate it in the right manner. Now, when it comes to PAYE penalties and interest, we are provided for this in the section of the Act. It's good to note that the due date for filing PAYE return and payment of taxes, as mentioned in the beginning, is deducted from the employee's end is due on the 9th of the following month. So any PAYE that will be deducted for the month of March 2024 will be due by 9th of April 2024. Where an employer does not observe the due dates, the penalties below shall apply. late filing, higher of 25% of the tax due, or the penalty of 10,000 Kenya shillings. If there's late payment, you decide to make the payment on, for example, 10th of April, 2024. There's a penalty of 5% of the tax due. That is the tax due of that month. And the late payment interest at 1% interest per month, or part of the month on the unpaid tax until the tax is paid in full. I'll use an example for the month of March. PAYE fell due on 9th of March. Today is 15th. So that means part of the month of 15th up until 15th will be on or added on top of the tax due.
Around 420.
Hello, kindly let's mute.
John, kindly mute.
John, kindly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Not to worry. Under the late payment, as earlier, as I was explaining, is penalty of 5% of the tax due. So if your tax due, for example, was 15,000, I'm using it as an example, there'll be a penalty of 5%, which will be added on the tax that is due. Remember, the tax that is due is the principal. And there'll also be a late payment interest of 1% interest per month, or part of the month, meaning it will be apportioned as per that on the date in which you're going to do the payment until the tax is paid in full. Milka, up to there, we're all together before we go into tax amnesty, or would you like me to tackle some of the questions?
Kindly proceed. We'll have questions at the end.
Thank you very much. Now, KRA, we always believe in second chances. We are the people who always understand that we give tax amnesty, in which we give you a second chance. And this is where we have tax amnesty that's currently running. And in the Finance Act of 2023, which was introduced, it introduced a tax amnesty of interest and penalties by inserting Section 37E to the Tax Procedures Act of 2015. It also deleted the waiver under Section 89 and wrote off provisions of Section 37 of the Tax Procedures Act. The amnesty is applicable to taxpayers who, 1, do not have principal tax before 31st of December 2022, have principal tax before 31st December 2022, but clear the outstanding tax debts by the 30th of June 2024. Tax amnesty will be applicable on all interest and penalties. I'll repeat again, tax amnesty will be applicable on all interest and penalties, meaning the principal still has to be cleared. And this interest and penalties will be on tax debts relating to tax periods on or before 31st December 2022, including all assessments for periods prior to 30th of December 2022, raised later and concluded any objection cases. So please take advantage of the amnesty period that runs up until 30th of June this year. Amnesty, kindly note, will be granted per period as opposed to per pin. So kindly note that it will be granted per period as opposed to per pin. Now, despite applying for the amnesty, where some principal tax remains outstanding in a period past 30th of June 2024, that period will not qualify for the tax amnesty. If there's any debt that accrued from 1st of January 2023, qualifies for neither amnesty nor waiver, all principal, interest, penalty must be paid or enforced. Now, you wonder why KRA is talking about second chances on tax amnesty. It's because it's to enable us to collect revenue and also to correct taxpayers' ledger. Remember, for the revenue that we collect as an appointed agent is to ensure that we are able to access the different facilities, be it medical, be it roads, that are all fall under the government provisions. This was the approved tax amnesty public notice that was actually put out, and this was actually signed by our Commissioner of Domestic Taxes. So this is just for your reference if you saw it in the newspaper, and that's something that I've also highlighted. As KRA, we also have we actually look at integrity and access to information with the much needed seriousness when it comes to it. And we actually have measures that have been put in place by KRA to address any form of corruption. One is the automation of KRA function, where we have the iTax, the ICMS, the ECTS, the DPC, and the one-stop border points, among others. We also have the Taxpayers Charter that spells out the rights and obligations of taxpayers. We also have the establishment of the INSO, which is the Integrity Department, which oversees integrity in KRA, such as lifestyle audits, vetting, investigations on staff, and tax evasion. We also have training of taxpayers and the general public on the integrity, such as today's forum. We also have investigations on staff and tax evaders and enforcement of the KRA Code of Conduct. We also have the KRA anti-corruption, gifts and whistleblower policies, and we also have the corruption reporting mechanism, which can be done anonymously. Excuse me. And for the corruption reporting offices, it is based on the 26th floor of Times Tower. We have a hotline, which is actually presented there on the screen. And we also have the corruption email that goes straight to KRA. We also have Complaints and Information Center, which is CIC. And we also have letters that can be written to the Commissioner General. Please note that the informer reward system, KRA pays 5% of taxes recovered from the information given by the informers, and it's up to a maximum of 5 million Kenya shillings. We also have an anonymous reporting tool, in which is known as the iWhistle, and how to access the iWhistle is members of the public can access the portal via the link provided, which is http://iwhistle.kra.go.ke and click on Report Now icon as shown below here. Now, what should you report under iWhistle? It can be the abuse of office, concealment, diversion of goods, tax evasion, bribery, fraud, or even conflict of interest. What you need to provide when making a report on ISO is the financial record, profit and loss, audited accounts, bank statements, bank details, pay bill details, till number, the PIN number, the location of the business or offender, and the mobile contact of the violator. The mechanism we have in place is through the complaints report, and you can actually use either email or you can walk into any of our offices and you can report. It can be in writing to the Commissioner General, it can be via phone or through the iWhistle portal. Please note, we have 7 regional offices, and these ones are spread across the country. You can see we have one in North Rift, and there are 4 of them in Western. We have 6 of them in Nairobi. We have 5 of them in Central. There are 6 of them in Southern region. We have 5 of them in South Rift region. We have 6 of them, and in Northern region, we have 9 of them. Kindly note that our services are offered across this 9 tax service offices, and our services are free of charge. If you need any help to locate our KRA offices near you, kindly feel free to visit our website, www.kra.go.ke, or reach us through the contact that has been highlighted below, or you can also email the call center. And please note, if we do not honor our promise, kindly email us at cic@kra.go.ke. If you are still dissatisfied, please email our Commissioner General, Mr. Gatanga, through cg@kra.go.ke. Kweli kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Milka, I hand over to you so that you can moderate any questions before we go into the practical session of how we can file our pay returns and how to log on to iTax.
Wow. Thank you so much, Paris. I can see Susanna is trying to respond to questions on the chat box. So I believe all the questions have been handled on the chat box. I'll just maybe if we have any member here with a question who can raise their hand, and then Paris can answer. But now that you are going to the next session, the practical one, let's close this one, then we can proceed the next one. So I can allow maybe 3 questions, because so far Susan is working on the chat box and I can see she's doing a good job. And if you feel that your question has not been answered, please, you can raise your hand, then I can allow you to speak if you are able to. Then we proceed. Perry is here for all that, and she's here to explain to us everything. We still have time. Cindy, Perry, you're here with us today. That's why we decided to start this webinar early, for us to tackle all the issues that we have.
Milka,
So,
we are joined by the hip for today.
we are joined by the
hip today.
Yes. So, do we have anyone with the question who would like to speak? You can raise your hand and allow you to unmute and speak. Because on the chat box, there's no need of repeating what Susan has done. Those who are asking about the CPD points, we are working on them. We normally have like 400 attendants, so we cannot do them at once. That's why we normally request, if also you can try from your side, the better. But we'll update all the CPD points slowly to most, tafadhali, because we are like 400, at times we're 300, and it's a weekly. So it might not be possible to update them at once. If you've attended any of our forums and your CPD has not maybe requested and has not been updated, please, you can write to us trainings@HRM and indicate the name of the training, then we'll see how to do. Because you are supposed to request for the CPD from your side, then we review on our side if you attended any of our training. So allow me to give Grace for a third chance to ask us a question. Grace, you try to be short anyway. Go ahead, Grace.
All right, thank you, Milka. Thank you, Paris. My question goes on the, when we are paying our consolidated pay, which has housing allowance for sure, what if we are providing housing for that employee? Can we then just pay the basic salary because we don't expect them to pay any rent?
Thank you very much for that question, Grace. So your question, just so that I'm able to get it right, you're asking if you have an employee and it's consolidated and you're only providing a house for one employee, whether you can?
Yes. So we have one employee, like our grounds person, so we've employed them, but we've given them housing. So when it comes to remuneration, we only pay them, of course, the basic salary. We don't pay the housing allowance because we're already giving them a house. So is that in order?
You'd have to put it in as a benefit because that's actually a benefit. And I'll take you through even the pay filing returns where it provides that. So it's just a matter of rectifying it and putting it in the right column, or rather in the right form. I know it's just one employer, but you're looking at it in terms of why do I have to do it for only one employer? Yet I can simplify it from that aspect. So I'll take you through that so that as you grow and you end up having, let's say maybe 10 more employees who you'll be providing for housing, then that's a matter of where do you put it in the right sheet.
All right, thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. So we'll have Marilyn, then Elizabeth, then Monica, then we close with Pius, then we go to the next session. So Marilyn, both them,
Yes.
please go ahead, kindly.
Thank you, Milka. Thank you, Paris, for the wonderful presentation. My question is on the persons with disability. What is the process of applying for the certificate? Is it the person who applies personally, or is it the company that applies for the certificate?
Okay, thank you very much, Marilyn. I'll just jot it down, then I'll answer it as we take the other question. Milka, you can continue to take the next question.
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth, kindly go ahead. Elizabeth Njau.
Okay, thank you, Milka and Paris. My question is on tax refund. After filing, you find that at the end of it, I may have a surplus on my account. So how does KRA refund? Because on several occasions, after we file and assist our staff, they said that they have KRA owes them some money, but KRA never refunds the funds. So how does that go if we forget clearance? Thanks.
Okay, I've jotted down that question, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Monica Ndungu.
Hello, my question is on the new SHIF deduction. Is it going to attract the same tax, not exemption, relief as NHIF? And then also another question is on reimbursement of expenses. Like for example, where I work, we usually give our staff money that they spend on transport to go about our business. So this also is in relation to the ETIMS requirements. So if staff are not able to give us receipts that are ETIMS compliant, is that expense supposed to be taxed to the employee, or how do we go about that?
Monica, just repeat the first question. I didn't get it, but I got the one for the reimbursement.
Okay. My first question was on a new SHIF deduction that is coming up. Going to attract the same relief as NHIF, or what is the guidance on that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Pius Masharia, we learned that, Pius, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you, Milka. My question is with regards to the allowable deductions. That is specifically with regard to subscriptions to the professional bodies. I was asking whether this is an allowable deduction to the side of employer, and if it's supposed to be deducted to be taxed as well to the employee. Thank you.
Thank you, Pius. Grace, Perry, sorry, we also have viewers from YouTube. There's a question. Actually, there are two questions. One, is sick pay deductible? And then number two, insurance relief. Is the payout taxed later? That's the question. Insurance relief. Is the payout taxed later? Have you gotten that, Paris? Then the first one was sick pay. Is sick pay deductible? Those two from the YouTube listener. So if you can answer or not for answering them later. Allow her to stop at that because I can see so many hands. I promise to stop at Pius, then we continue the next session because we have another practical session coming up. Or I can allow these three to ask. Then please, let's stop it at Margaret, then we continue to the next session. So Jacqueline Warindi, I can allow you to unmute and ask your question. Thank you.
Thanks, Milka. I have a couple of questions that I wanted clarification on. Like if in our company we provide airtime to our employees, is this a tax deductible benefit? I mean, is this a taxable benefit? And up to, do we then allocate what is for, do we tax what is for personal use or the entire amount? Same case goes to where we provide our sales employees with fuel cards. So again, for that, is there any tax that goes to the employee on the use of the fuel card? Another one is where we may, like for Christmas, provide gift vouchers to staff members. If this an allowable deduction in the company books, if we are not taxing the employees. The last one is on secondary employees. I think when you come to filing the returns, it only gives you the option of the highest bracket. And for some, you for sure know that is not, that's not where they are. So how do you go about this? Are we allowed to then pay less than what is the return is giving us? Because we know maybe someone is still at 30%. So should we just go ahead and pay the correct amount and then we have a variance?
Jacqueline, just repeat the question again. I lost you a bit.
The last, I had like 5. The last one, is it on secondary employee?
Yes, on secondary employee.
Okay, so when you're filing the returns, it only gives us the option of, the auto-calculated gives us the option of the highest tax bracket, the 35%. And my question was, where these, you even know what they earn on the other side, and maybe you're only paying them for a commission that they had earned before they left. Do we go on and just submit the correct tax? Maybe it's at 30%, and then we'll have a variance in Abusa as to what we have calculated and what has been auto-calculated by the system? Or do we go ahead and now, again, deduct the higher amount, and then maybe they will get, I know there are no refunds. I don't think there are any refunds anymore, but how do we handle that for secondary employees?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Allow me to invite Mr. Isaac Boyd to ask a question. Mr. Boyd actually is the chair Mombasa branch. If you're in Mombasa and you're not a member, you should look for him I mean, you are not a member of that branch, you should look for him. So, Mr. Boyd, please, you can go ahead with the question.
Thank you very much, Milka. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Madam, I have a scenario that I think I'm not sure how, if it is a technical one, because in regards to payroll process, and I have an employee with disability. And you said we have the first 150,000 as exempted from tax. Now, the scenario that I have is where an employee is not able to, is not, it has, the salary is around 140. Let's take an example of 140. So if it is 140, of course, the 150 is not yet, he has not reached the 150. Now, here comes a month where this person has a salary, or rather salary increment, and say have 160,000, and it is backdated maybe to 2 months or 1 month. Meaning, the month which is a previous month, this person, there is an additional payment of around 20,000, and out of 150,000, then it means this person has qualified to be that, okay, the issues of tax to be done. Now, since it is a backdated salary, it means if this person is have a tax that, or he has qualified for a tax, then that area is the relief and what have you is now also backdated. I'm not sure how KRA deals with such scenario in the area that before then, before you recover tax, or rather after you recover tax, then there is that relief. There is total taxable earning, and then okay, total taxable earning, tax before tax relief, and now the pay as you earn after you have relieved the employee. So I'm not sure. I've been having a scenario whereby we are informed that it is only the commissioner who is supposed to deal with the issues of a refund in such scenarios. So I'm not supposed to backdate the issues of tax element. Can you clarify that?
Well,
thank
questions
you.
are coming in. There are many. That's why we are also organizing for a training, 5 days training on finance, payroll, and tax compliance for HR professionals in June. And this will take place in Eldoret, 10th to 14th. Please plan to register, because I think the time might not allow Paris to answer all these questions. I can see members from the chat, you are complaining that your questions are not being. I thought Susan was handling the chat box. That's why I did not, because I've seen her responding to questions from the chat box. Susan, I believe you are there. There are members crying. Please help them, because if you start reading also from the chat, we might not finish now. So we only have two to unmute and ask questions. Paris, if you allow me, then we proceed to the next session as you promised for the practical. Is that okay with you? I
Yes,
hope you've
we
been
don't
taking
want,
notes of
yeah.
this. So thank you. So allow me to invite Jackson. Meanwhile, Susan kindly help with Susan also works with the KRA. She's a colleague to Paris and been answering questions on the chat box. She will do so. She'll continue doing what she's doing. Jackson, please kindly unmute, then proceed. Thank you. Jackson, you're there? Can we go to Margaret then, since Jackson is not there? Margaret, are you there?
Yes,
Margaret
I
is
am
going to be
here.
the last person. Please continue. Proceed.
Yes. Yeah, so my question is on houses on mortgage and have been rented. So where you have a house that is on mortgage and you've rented it out, do you pay taxes for that house? Because if the mortgage is more than the income, how would you pay tax on that house? I would really want to understand that. I don't know whether it's clear or do I repeat again?
That was short and clear. Paris, that one you should answer. That one you should not even wait.
No, what I'd like Margaret to clarify on the
Mhm.
mortgage, are you employed or that is your source of income?
Employed and another source of income.
Okay, we'll tackle it.
All right.
you.
So, Paris, you can go ahead. You can proceed to the next practical bit.
Before
Tafuta kalamu na karatasi.
ngoja kabla tuende hapo, I
Okay.
would like to answer all these questions as my colleague Susan is trying to tackle the questions in the chat. We just
Okay.
call on your patience to just bear with us because we are trying to tag team as we try to the best of our capability ensure that we do not leave you with any questions at the end of this session. So the questions in the chat, rest assured, we will try and tackle them as we go through. And also for the questions that have been raised in the group, Milka, you'll allow me to answer those ones before we end up getting confused when we go to the practical and other questions arise.
We are so happy. Thank you, Paris. Go ahead. We are here to listen. Thank you. Proceed.
Asante sana. Now I'll start with the first question from Marilyn about a person living with disability and how the person actually registers for it. Now, in accordance with persons living with disability, it is the individual's obligation to register and follow the requirements that they have to apply to get the income tax exemption certificate, because the income tax exemption certificate is issued to the individual. Remember, the income tax exemption certificate, it's separate from when you're looking at the organization, which is guided under the second paragraph of the Income Tax Act, versus the one for the individual. The individual is required to initiate the exemption application process through the National Council of Persons Living with Disability. You have to lodge that, but before you lodge that, there are certain requirements that the individual needs to provide. One, and these requirements have to be provided. So the source of income, they must have a tax compliance certificate. They cannot be issued an exemption certificate without having an they cannot be issued an exemption certificate if they are not compliant. So they must be tax compliant. They also have to show the source of income. So as an employer, of course, when some of the individuals come over to your offices requesting that you write them a letter stating that, for example, Paris Mukoko is an employee of the IHRM Institute. Kindly accord them the necessary support for them to actually get this income tax exemption certificate. The other thing is that they also have to go for a medical, they have to get a medical report, meaning they have to go through medical screening in line with approved hospitals or medical providers that have been approved by the National Council of Persons with Disability, because the report is then sent to the National Council for that. And after that, then they lodge their application. And we have colleagues also who are based at the National Council of Persons with Disability who aid in ensuring that once the requirements have been met, the excuse me, the individual is then issued with the income tax exemption certificate. It is unique and it is generated through iTax, in which it is valid for 5 years. I believe I've answered the first question, and at the same time, I have also tackled the question which was asked about. There was another question that was asked about persons living with disability. Now I go to Elizabeth, and at the same time, I will also tackle the same question Jacqueline alluded to, and also Margaret alluded to in regards to refunds. I can confidently state that we as KRA issue our refunds, as long as you have actually logged onto your iTax profile and you have stated initiate refunds. And when you initiate refunds, they are definitely issued from the head office upon all the documents have been gone through and demonstrated that indeed you qualify for the refund. I go to the other question that was raised by Monica about the NSIF. No, the new one which is coming out and taking over the NHIF. I will not comment about it, and I'll simply state that for the NHIF we're still guided by law, so we are following the procedure when it comes to relief, which has already been put and has actually been passed under the Finance Act of 2023. Now, on reimbursement of expenses of transport, and asking whether we as KRA need to do the reimbursement under e-teams as the requirements. I believe, Monica, that the organization has a policy in place when it comes to the reimbursement qualification and what you deem as reimbursement, meaning the right policies, the requirements, if it is an e-teams certificate, if it is an e-teams receipt, or if it is basically the requirements, I believe, are met within the organization. Now, for the reimbursement, of course, in regards to it being as an allowable or not taxed.
This year is on accurate and timely registration data. So this is a KIPSEA nominal role. The header there should be KIPSEA.
Wait. Is the person?
2024.
Are you able to mute them?
I'm trying to look for the person.
Oh, there it is. They've already muted. Oh, thank you for that. So in regards to the reimbursement of expense, on whether we look at it, as long as you have sorted it internally and it requires the threshold as demonstrated under the PAYE.
For you to see the difference. So because of the issue of relying on other people to assist you when it comes to registration, you end up with the wrong
Galaxy A11.
I'm
the
looking for
gentleman
the name. Where? So muted.
Okay, thank you very much, Milka. Okay. Monica, I believe I've answered the questions you had brought up. Then I'll ask Pius to just elaborate further when you're talking about the professional bodies in regards to the deduction for the employees, so that we're able to understand further and guide it. And sick pay deduction, in line with the Employment Act, in which also all the organizations get the guidelines for the sick pay. It's a certain number in which, of course, the first, for example, maybe the first 14 is exempt. Then from there, it ends up being on a prorated rate, in which it gets to, of course, you also have, as a HR professional, you also have to look that it meets the certain thresholds. If someone is in hospital and is admitted, it's separate from when someone is actually on sick pay, in which in line with the Employment Act and also in line with the remuneration falls under. Excuse me. we come to the question that Jacqueline has asked. Jacqueline, in regards to the secondary employee and the issue that you're currently facing when you're filing your returns, what we'll simply ask you is kindly direct message myself and Susan so that we're able to redirect you to the account manager, who then is able to assist when it comes to the matter of the filing of the returns. We ask that you ensure that when you're facing any challenge, or even to the other members who are actually joining in, kindly note, whenever you're having any issue with filing your returns, we as KRA, we have account managers dedicated to ensuring that when you're having any challenges, we are able to, one, ensure that you file in the correct manner as per the Income Tax Act law, and also as per the PAYE guide, so that we're able to ensure that you put in the correct tax. And I'll reiterate again, Jacqueline, I'm happy to state that the refund process for KRA has been ongoing, and it's a matter of seeing how best we can continue to actually serve you. For Boyd, the question came in about the payroll process. So in regards to the first 150,000, if someone is actually an individual who is persons living with disability, and maybe they have the first 140,000, if you can backdate. No, you do not have that right to backdate, because it is only, and as actually stipulated as per the income tax, you must demonstrate together with the correct documents, in which, for example, if the person living with disability got the disability certificate, let's say in 2020, and has been an employee from 2019, and when filing the returns, maybe they did not have the income tax exemption certificate. Kindly note that you are required to ask the individual to actually provide you with the exemption certificate, income tax exemption certificate, which is unique, and in line with KRA, it automatically comes, it's automatically displays together with the name. So when you put in the exemption certificate number, it will automatically read the full names of the person together with the PIN number, because that is how our system is actually generated and it's unique. And in terms of trying to backdate, of course, you'll do the amendment, but you'll also be required to provide the relevant documents, because you are doing an amended return when it comes to that. And in terms of tax relief, as earlier mentioned, per employee or per individual is 2,400 shillings per month. Come to the unique question that was actually raised by Margaret in regards to mortgage and also the income. Now, when you're an employee and you've already applied for the mortgage, as earlier demonstrated, when it comes to the mortgage is actually considered as part of an allowable deduction in terms of the mortgage interest deduction, such that the interest paid on the amount borrowed from the financial institutions to finance either the purchase or improvement of their premises occupied for residential purposes is deductible against employment income up to a maximum of 300,000, I'll repeat, 300,000 Kenya shillings per annum, and this is deducted against the gross employment income. Now, if Margaret, for example, has a mortgage on, let's say, house number A, and they stay in house number B, in which they also rely on the income, when you're filing your individual income tax returns, you will be required to state that you also have another source of income. So that source of income will be considered as your secondary income, in which when you're doing your income tax return, it automatically opens another tab in the Excel sheet for you to input the income that you're receiving from that house. So no, having a mortgage and using the house as another source of income does not limit you from actually doing what you're required to do. Milka, I hope that I have not left any of the questions that the members had asked for us to tackle.
I believe so. I believe that you answered all the questions that were asked. And I also believe that Susan has done her best on the chat side. I only have one question that I've received from the YouTube listener. And this is how the question goes. What is withholding tax? And how do we go about it when someone has it? I hope you got me right. Yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
So withholding tax. So I'll assume that maybe this is withholding tax from VAT aspect. So Milka, this goes to show that definitely we have to have another session so that I'm able to take people through value added tax. When it comes to withholding tax is not final, but the reason why it is done, or rather the reason why withholding tax is actually there, is to ensure that the appointed with
the question.
Okay, to ensure that the person who is the appointed withholding tax agent remits part of the amount which was meant to
that you are seeking to credentials.
There's someone attending class somewhere and the person keeps unmuting.
Our system
I don't know what is happening with Richard Atega.
Yeah, I think he's attending class and he keeps unmuting. Hey, this is unfair.
Not to worry, Milka. I'll pick up from where I had left in regards to the withholding. So the withholding agent is an appointed agent for KRA who withholds a percentage of the amount in which so let me use an example. So we have the HRM who are an appointed agent of KRA as an example. And they need to make a payment, for example, to Milka, in which a certain amount is withheld, in which the IHRM automatically, when they're filing their return, they remit the amount that was withheld to KRA, and automatically Milka is required to remit the balance of the amount which was withheld. So that is a brief example of what withholding tax is. For withholding tax, we have both for income tax, which are guided in, and also we have for VAT. So for VAT, the various aspects when it comes to withholding, there's contractual, and they fall in different percentages. For income tax, you'd find some of the withholding amount, for example, from some of the dividends that most of the individuals actually receive, deemed as final, and you're not required to actually make any payment. Milka, is there any other questions so that we do not leave any person also on YouTube who has a question that is tax related?
So far, I think you've tackled that. Let's proceed to the next, kindly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll proceed to take you through on how, one, you log on to iTax. And please note that this is a test environment that we'll be using. So kindly allow me a minute so that it's easy for us to get onto the place that we'll be using as a test environment, Milka, and also as I take a glass of water.
You're allowed. You're allowed to take a glass of water. Members, I believe you're learning. And I can see questions are still coming in. From the chat box, Susan is handling. Susan is doing a great job there. And as I said earlier, we are planning for training on the same. We are doing finance, we'll be doing finance, payroll, and tax compliance for HR professionals. That will take place in June 10th to 14th, and we'll make sure that KRA representative is there to take us to clarify more, because time might not allow us to tackle everything here. But during that period, that training, we'll have to tackle almost all the questions, because it's a 5-day training in all the rates. So be ready, and I encourage you to register for the training. Yes, Paris, I believe you've taken a glass of water.
Oh,
You
Milka,
can
thank you
proceed.
very much. Yes. So I believe at one point all of us have interacted with this website for iTax. So please note, this is a test environment, and the test environment is there for such sessions so that we're able to learn how to actually log in. So Milka, I don't know whether you want us to start with looking at individual returns, or we go straight into how we can actually file mostly for the companies. Milka,
Please
I think.
do what you think is best for all of us. We can start with individuals. Yes,
Okay.
do what you think is best for us, because we are here to learn. And yes, so you are allowed to do what you think is good for us.
I'm allowed to use my discretion.
Yes, you are
Okay.
allowed. Yes.
All right. Please note that we are currently in the process of filing individual returns which are on or due before the 30th of June 2024. So the returns that we are filing are currently for the year 2023 from January 1st to let me just stop share so that I can put a pin. So we are filing our returns from January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023. And we are supposed to be filing it before the end of, before June 30th. All of us always know that, and Michael Joseph always used to say that Kenyans have a peculiar nature of waiting until the last minute. So please note that you can file your returns for 2024 as early as now or as early as today, so that you're able to file your returns without any challenges or getting any penalty. So Milka will be going back to the test environment so that we are
That's
able
okay.
to file the returns. Sorry, I'd have to. So I'm sharing back the screen. I had to do that for data protection reasons. So here we are. So as earlier shown, it always asks for your PIN and your password, and then it gives you an arithmetic equation. As you can see from the profile, this is the Kenya Revenue Authority iTax portal, in which through the home, you're able to amend your PIN detail. You're able to amend your PIN details for other registrations, you're able to consult and all those things. And here we are in terms of filing your return. So if you have any employment income, meaning that in this case, you're not like Margaret who has another source of income, you come to the returns tab and you click on ITR for employment income. But in the event that you are employed and you have another source of income, you click on file return. It will bring you to this section in which you click on income tax resident individual and you click on next. As you can see, you'll be required to download your income tax resident individual form, which is Excel compliant. And for those who are using MacBooks, you have the ODS one, which is also compliant with your MacBook. Please note that we also have a step-by-step guide on how to file your return on our iTax on our KRA website, in which it takes you step by step. Now, we will come to this one where you have the employment income, another source of income as an example. It simply asks for all the first 3 tabs are always auto-populated, and then we select the period. So we are filing for the period of 1st of January 2023 until it auto-populates January until 31st of December 2023. And it asks, do you have employment income? You click yes, and automatically it gives you a clear guide to stick to click onto the next tab. When you get onto the next tab, kindly let's be patient. It takes you to if you're not employed, it shows you that you are not eligible for using ITR for employment income only. Please use file return menu under the tabs for filing return. So the dummy pin that we used is different for that. So you'll allow me to log out, and then I put in another pin for test kindly, and then from there it will be easy for us. But I'll stop share because of the sensitivity of the pin and in line with the data protection. So kindly allow me to stop share so that I key in the pin.
Thank you. As Paris is working on that, I believe the chat box questions are being catered for. In case you have questions, please let us know. Engage us in the chat box. Susan is there. She's also from KRA. And also to remind members that there's a link that has been sent on the chat box. Kindly register, because that's form part of registration link, the attendance register. Exactly, that's the exact term, the attendance register for this particular webinar. So make sure that you register through that link for us to have your details for CPD purposes. Thank you. Paris, if you're back, you can continue.
Yes, I'm back. So let me share the screen again. Okay, so we were at income tax return filing for individuals alone, and we click on 1st of January 2023, and it takes us to that. You click yes, and it takes you to the next one. And here, oh, I think the test environment is having a bit of challenges. Kindly give me a minute. Milka, you'll allow me to do one last trial for another employee for test environment. I'm hoping 3 times as a charm and it will automatically peak so that I'm able to show you all how we do this before we go to filing of PAYE.
That's okay. That's okay, Paris. Yeah, here. Yeah, we had to wait.
Yeah. Thank you all very much for your patience.
I'm trying to get
This one has gone through, so here we go. We get that. I believe we can see that now. Are we all together?
yes, yes, I can see. Yes, we can see. If I can see, then members can see it also.
Perfect.
Yes, we can. Yeah, they'll confirm we can.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, this one is very straightforward because it just asks you for return information, the basic information. So do you have, has your employer provided you with a car? If you select yes, then automatically there's a section that will require you to put the details. Do you have an ownership savings plan? For example, we'll say yes. Do you earn any income from any foreign country? We'll say no. Do you have any mortgage? Margaret, we've seen where we'll tick yes, yeah? And then do you have maybe any life policy? Let's say maybe yes. And have you been issued with an exemption certificate? You see, it automatically blanks out because the system has not shown that you have registered for or you've been issued with any income tax exemption certificate. Now, for this, it auto-populates. When we go to section F, it auto-populates in which it's income tax return for employment income only. And it asks you to actually verify. So against your P9 that you received for 2023, you can modify, in which over here it tells you cannot add or modify system generated details of employment income for the year 2023. So then you're able to get in touch with your employer, or you simply, excuse me, file the income tax return using the Excel IT1 Excel form for you to actually file your returns. So the reason for this is that it's to simplify your filing of returns. Then we go to section I, in which it asks, for example, if you have any car benefit. So of course, the PIN is automatically populated. It asks you for your make. So at this point, we'll simply say that maybe it's a Toyota as an example. Then it asks for your body type. Is it Land Rover, Cruiser, pickup, saloon, hatchback? So we'll say it's a Land Rover as an example because of that. Then CC, we can say it's 3000 CC. And then from their type of car, we can see it's either owned or hired. This is where the lease. So you'd find most organizations have partnerships with CMC Motors, just to name it as an example. And we can say maybe it is hired. Then it asks for the cost. If it was an owned car, it would ask for the cost. If it is hired or leased, we'd say that maybe it's leased at let's say 500 thousand maybe per month as an example, and then it asks for the period of use in the year of months. We'd say it was used for the 12 months, which is the full year. Then we add. Now here you also have to put in the car registration number. So we can say, for example, it's KDC 489Z, and we click add. It asks you to verify whether you want to add the details, because remember, it is always your income tax return, which is based on a self-assessment, meaning whatever details you put in, you have to put the details. And it tells you cannot add or modify system generated details of car benefit for the year because the employer has not put it in. So what we do, we go back to section A and we state that no, there is no car. And you can see section I automatically does what? It disappears from the tabs up. Then we go to section J, where it asks about car details of the lender. No, sorry. This is basically your mortgage. So for example, we'll put a PIN of one of the mortgage organizations as an example, because remember, this is a test environment. So this is just to walk you through on how you can actually file the returns without any challenges. And it automatically picks, and then it asks for your mortgage account number. The mortgage account number is always unique from one firm to another. And you can put maybe it's that as an example. And it asks amount borrowed. So for example, we can put it at 14.5 as an example. And then the amount outstanding. Remember your mortgage, you're always issued with a mortgage certificate at the end of each year from your mortgage company or from the in which you simply state that it's to enable you file your returns. So I would say that it's outstanding amount paid for the year, assuming you're paying maybe 100 is so we do a quick deduction. We say maybe you paid the 500,000 at the end of the year. So outstanding ends up being 14 million. Sorry. And amount of interest paid, depending on the rate, it's always a portion. So we'd say maybe it's maybe 140,000. And you click add. It asks you again to confirm if you want to add the details. You click yes, and it does that. And then the total amount of interest paid for the period of January to June 2023 is what you automatically need to put there. So we'd say maybe the interest paid was, let's say maybe 10%, so it comes to 140,000. So mortgage interest, it gives you, it cannot be greater than 75,000 because it automatically does what? It calculates. Now we come to the next, which is the deduction of home ownership savings plan. So of course, again, it has to ask you for the institutional PIN. So we'll use the same PIN as an example to demonstrate how filing of this returns is just, it doesn't take too much of your time, and this automatically simplifies your return filing process, and at the same time we save on on paper of printing and ensuring that you have all the documents with you. Then it of course asks for your account number. So we'll put it as, excuse me. Just as an example. Then it asks for the total amount you deposited in a year, assuming you've been doing 5,000 each year, each month, it gives you that amount and it asks you to add. And from there, it asks total deposits for the period of January. Of course, that also can simply see if it will pick that as an example. So we can put it at okay, so we can just put it at maybe 10% of how much was done, and it gives you the option to click next. Then again, if you have a policy, it asks you again for the details. You need to have the policy document statement for the year, and we'll put in the same details so that it enables you to file your return. Milka, we are all together. I hope I'm not moving too fast.
We're okay. Please proceed.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Then it asks if it's a type of policy, life, education, or health. And it also asks you for the policy number again. So remember, all these documents have unique numbers in which the insurance or the mortgage organization or mortgage company automatically has the same record, which it also remits. So remember, it cannot be something, it has to be something that tallies with that which you've been given. And then it asks for the number. You simply just put in and just say maybe it's a number as an example, and then you can say if it's for self, wife, child, and then if it's self, it does that. Then we can put commencement date as January, 1st of January 2020, let's say maybe 2020. No, it can't be 2023. Let's put it at 2020. And we'll say maturity date is 1st of January 2030. Hopefully after Vision 2030, so we can put it at Vision 2035 as an example as well. So it automatically picks. However, if we put, as earlier demonstrated, that the maturity period was 2025. Now let's stick to 2035 so that we don't get any issues. Then we put sum assured is let's say maybe 5 million as an example. And annual premium paid is let's say maybe 250,000. And then it automatically calculates the 15%. And then you click on add, it asks, say okay. And then now it takes you the section M. So section M takes you to pay deducted at source from salary. As you can see, it's auto-populated at the bottom here as it was done in section F, in which it shows, remember, the details of pay deducted from source from salary. So you click next, and then it takes you to, if you have any tax which was paid in advance, This is basically any amount in which you have remitted to KRA and you get a unique payment registration number. This is where you put it in, and it asks you for the registration number. So we'll just put hypothetical one. Maybe you paid in 2023 as an example, because it's always a unique number. It asks the date of deposit so that it automatically keeps on reducing the amount. So remember, this is just a test environment for us to go through so that we're able to see how much it is. Maybe that year you ended up paying maybe 10,000 as an advance. Then it asks if you want to add the details, you click OK. So you see, it says is not valid or does not exist. So if it is not there, the system will always prompt you so that you're able to put in the right registration number, the right figure, so that you do not end up giving false information to the commissioner. Then when you come to section T, it shows a lot of the calculation, basically from the first information you put in section A up until section Q. And remember, we had talked about the relief. When it comes to personal relief, we had stated that it's 2,400, which is 2,400 per month, and that is 24 times 12. It comes to 28,000 for the year. 28,800 for the year. And then if you have any pension, of course, it's always up to, as an example, you put it in, and then if you have any defined pension contribution for the period from January to June 2023, this was, for example, the one from NHIF, then you're able to actually include it as an example. So I'll just put maybe 45 as an example, and you can see it. This is just hypothetical because of the figures we've put in. You can see before you do any submission, it always gives you an error tab. And when you click on the error, over here, it's supposed to show you where the error message is, where the error is occurring from. And when you click on it, it takes you to the right tab. For example, maybe if it was to put in the bank details. So remember, it lists all the banks that we have, and it also gives you the M-payment option, in which you can decide if it's a M-Pesa, Elma, Orange Money, UCash, or other. And from there, it asks for your city or your town. So we can simply state maybe it's from Nyeri, and then the account number, it always asks for the mobile number as an example. So we can put that as an example. And then, no, it asks for the name. So here we'll put for now, it's the test environment. But remember, you put in your names as they appear at the top. And then from there, we'll put the account number as an example. And then we click next. So we'll check. And then if everything is okay, you can easily click submit. It asks you, do you want to submit? You click OK. And the system automatically generates, and once it's done, it asks you to download your receipt. So it shows that you have indeed filed your individual income tax return. Now, as earlier demonstrated, so from there you're able to download your receipt, and you'll be able to view it. As earlier mentioned, we had talked about amnesty, and we're all wondering where amnesty tab falls under. When you go to debt and enforcement, under the legacy amnesty application, or you can do the iTax amnesty application, you click on it, and it takes you to where you want to put in the details, and you're able to select income tax resident individual. It shows you where you want to select. You say add all, and when you add them all, you go to section B, and of course you agree to the terms, and you select submit as an example to take us through. Once you've submitted, you automatically get a message in your inbox, and the correct registered email address, and you're able to comply. Now, in such a case where there's a total principal tax, you are required to actually make the amount. The only waiver that will be guaranteed is from the interest. But remember, when we're talking about the period, it's up. It only allows certain period, and you see for this period it is outside the scope. Now, in regards to refunds that were well articulated by Elizabeth, well articulated by Jacqueline, and even by Boyton, saying that we as KRA rarely issue any refunds when it comes to matters. Kindly note that when it comes to refunds, you're able to click on here under the tab, and it is on your iTax, and you need to initiate it. So you click on refund, and you click on income tax that you actually want to get a refund from KRA, and it shows you that you have pending liabilities for 2016. Therefore, you must pay any pending liabilities before you initiate any refund claim. Up to there, I believe I've been able to demonstrate how we can all file our returns. Milka, if there's any question, kindly, in regards to filing of individual income tax return, I put it back to you.
Thank you, Paris. Actually, you fired some people. You know, the people who've been waiting for during this period to file for some of us, and we give out something small. So their job, you fired them indirectly, because some of us can now do this without engaging their services. But thank you so much for taking us through this one. I believe there's no question. In case there is, please raise your hand, and can give you opportunity to ask. Yes, if you have any question in regards to the filing, you can let us know. You try for yourself this time round. You don't hire those accountants. I know they normally charge us something small to do this for you. Now, you can do it alone, free of charge. Actually, you should put something, log into your portal and drop something for HRM, because these services, always cost us a lot. So any question from members in regards to
Milka, before we
Paris's-
take the question, kindly note that you can also walk into any of our KRA offices across the regions, and we will do it free of charge. So if you're
Wow.
having any challenges, kindly just walk into any of our KRA offices, and we are there to assist you.
That's good news. Members, what do we say to KRA? Well done. If you can do it free of charge, then we appreciate. That's a good news. Thank you so much for that. Since there are no questions, members are satisfied with what you presented. I don't see two participants raised hands. Well, I'm not even seeing
There's
the
Grace.
hands. Are you
Grace,
able to see them?
yes, Grace Wadira and also
Aha.
Judy and Jerry have their hands up.
Yeah,
So
I've
we'll
seen
start
them.
with Grace.
With Grace, yes. Grace, please.
All right. Thank you, Paris, for walking us through. As you were walking us through, I was actually filing my return, and I realized that on the section A, where you're putting your details. On the bank space, I can't, the bank details, I can't select it because there's no drop down. Okay, that's one. Number two, on the, no, it has logged off because I think I waited for too long. I'll log in again. For NHIF, where we get the insurance relief, my question is, do we put the commencement date and the maturity date as January 2023 to December 2023? And then on the last tab where we are submitting the defined contributions, do we, from the P9, do we get it from the E2, which is actual, or E3, which is fixed? And then I'm seeing another question that I hadn't seen it before, that I think there's a place where we only are supposed to calculate from January to June 2023. So are we supposed to do those two things? Which is a defined contribution? Is it E2, which is actual, or E3, which is fixed? Those are my questions. Yeah.
Oh, Grace, thank you very much. And thank you for actually lightening the room further. In regards to Section A for the bank spacer, if you're still encountering any challenge, just switch browser. You could find that maybe it is taking some time for it to pick up, and then it automatically picks. In regards to the NHIF, it's for January to June 2023, as which is different from how it was in the previous year, in which you'd file for January to December, so 2022 as an example. Now, for the actual, you asked for the actual end. Kindly give me the second one.
On the P9, you usually have the defined contributions. We have E1, and then we have E2, which is actual, and E3, that is fixed.
You go for the one which is because there are 3 tabs. I'm trying to to put it from how we've interacted with it. You can find that, for example, from E1, it gives you the total amount, then E2 gives you the tax that was actually deducted, and then it goes to E3, which is a sum of E1 and E2. So am I right, or have do I need to revisit my notes again? After that, am I correct?
The E2 and the E3 are different.
Yes, there's one which is higher than the other.
Yes.
Is it with less the pay or with the pay?
This one is well, is it less so? Because the E3 is the fixed one, which is 240. So that's I'm wondering, is that the one we take, or we take the actual one?
You take the actual one.
Okay. Okay.
Then that's usually under E2. Then after you've done that, because that's section A, am I right? You're still filling section A. Then you go to the section F.
Yes.
So section F is usually towards the last column, because it's E1, E2, E3, and then it's usually at the just give me a minute. I just download one P9 so that it's easy for me to walk you through the sheet as we take the other questions, so that I'm able to walk you through, so that you put the correct figures. Just give me a minute. I download one P9, then from there I can walk all of us through.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. There's a hand up from Judy, and then there's also another one from Abdirahman.
Hi, Paris.
Hi, Judy, we can hear you.
Yes. Now, my question is, when it comes to filing the NSSF part of it, our organization, for example, has been paying tier 1 and tier 2 way before even it was approved. So when I was trying to do my filing, there's that section that says January to June, and I don't know how to go about that section, because our contribution has been the same throughout the year, from January to December. So how do I go about it?
Okay, Judy, I've jotted it down. Then I'll be able to address it. So just give me a minute as we do that as well. Abdirahman. Abdirahman, if you have a question, please ask.
Yes, Paris, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Paris, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
This Abdurrahman Noor, as you have said. My question is, are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, please proceed.
Okay, I want to ask if I have other source of income. How do I go about filing my return?
Okay, so if you have any other source of income, what you can do is when you have any other source of income, you do not file the way I have demonstrated from the income tax return for employment income. So what you do is you download the IT1 form from iTax, which let me just show you how we can quickly go about it so that we are able to do it from an actual perspective. Yeah. So this is how you actually do it. So you come to returns, you click file return, and you select income tax resident individual, and you click next, and you download. So for now, it actually shows, because of the test environment, it shows that we've already filed our returns. But you click, if you're able to see where the cursor is, you click and download version 18.09. It keeps on improving in terms of the form, which is always uploaded on iTax, because of the changes that we see, how best to ensure that it's more user-friendly and it's always easy for you to go through the step-by-step on how to file the returns. Now, when you download the income tax return, I don't know whether you're able to see where the cursor is. You can download one that is compliant for Microsoft Office. For those who are using Microsoft Office, you download the Excel. If you're one who's actually using a MacBook, you can also download the one which is for ODS. So Abdirahman, what you do is once you download that, and on the first section, section A of the return itself, the Excel, please note to remember to enable your macros so that it's easy for you to key in the details. It always asks for your PIN number, you put it in, type of return, if it's original, and then underneath it's type return period from and return period to. So it will be 1st of January 2023 to 31st of December 2023. And at the bottom it asks, do you have, for example, a mortgage? If it's no, you click no. Do you have any other source of income? You click yes. When you click yes, it automatically opens another tab for your source of income. And for your source of income, it then has various tabs which can either be farming input, business input, rental input, and it goes on. In which from there, it gives you on your left tab, it gives the specifics in which you're able to put in the right amount under it. I hope that that demonstration has been helpful to you, Abdirahman.
It's okay, that's okay. Abdulrahman seems he dropped off. He can continue, proceed. Judy, you already asked your question. I can see your hand is still up. You can go
Yes,
to
Judy.
James. Judy, okay. Oh, James, please unmute.
Good afternoon. Just a very quick question. When I did my filing returns, I sort of made a mistake. So I wanted to amend. So I filled the form again, but on amending, when I went to upload, it refused. It actually asked for an attachment, attach something, or it said attach proof. So there was no option to attach anything else. That's my question.
Oh, okay, thank you, James. Now I'll quickly answer that. For filing return, we always say that it's a self-assessment because it is you who then gives or verifies anything beforehand. And for the reason why it's asking when you've done the amendment for you to attach proof, it means that if I am right, the first return that you filed, maybe the figure was, let's say, was asking you to pay a certain amount, and now automatically the amount has reduced. Am I right, James?
Yes, basically it was one of the questions that had been asked. I think it was the information to be filled for some months. I believe it's Jan to June. So that part I had not filled, yes. But when now
So
I filled
what?
Yes.
Not to worry. I believe now we're on the same page. In such a situation, what you do is for the attachment. So you remember the download after you filed your returns, the assessment. So you can download for the first one, you just highlight that section, and then also for the second one that you're uploading that amount, and then you just put it as a PDF, highlighting that that is the amendment. However, if you're still not able to get to that form, kindly please just make a point to walk into any of our offices, and we'll be able to assist you in seeing how best we can sort out that issue. I'll go to yes, Milka.
Okay, you still have energy. I thought anyway, you promised to answer all the questions, right?
Correct.
I thought we should anyway, then we can continue. So members, Paris is here for us, free of charge. Please go ahead. Who is next to the question?
I had left Judy. And also if I'm not, I have questions I know from Judy and Margaret. So let me just tackle one from Margaret.
Okay.
Because I've already downloaded a P9 form so that I'm able to walk her through. Margaret, if you're there, just give me a shout so that sorry, was it? No, it was Grace. Grace, if you're there, please just give me a shout so that we're able to walk together. Perfect. Now, in regards to the filing of the return, so when you're doing your basic salary, so the first one is, of course, for the basic. So that's usually on column A. So that's the first amount you put on the first on section A in the basic salary. Then it asks you for your defined retirement defined contribution retirement scheme. You put E2. No, you put E2 and are we together? Then it comes to the section of your total chargeable pay. You see at the bottom of your P9 and also the same amount which is on column H. That is where you put in your total chargeable pay. Then when it asks, because that's under column F, when it asks for your pay tax, you put the figure that is actually on section L. Then when you move to where it asks for your personal relief, that is the figure that's usually under section K. Grace, up to there, we're okay?
Yes.
Okay.
We are.
Have I answered your question?
Yes, my question was on the on the, what is it, the return itself, section T, on the iTax, so there's the defined pension contribution, which you said is E2, which is the actual. And then row 1.1, it says pension contribution for the period January to June 2023. So we are supposed to calculate that for the 6 months, which will be different from the E2. It will be like
so you
almost
take for
half.
the correct.
All right, we are together now.
All right. Then we come to Judy. Judy, for NSSF, I'm currently consulting and I'll be able to answer your question hopefully before the end of this session.
Okay.
Okay. Then we go to Jackson. I can see Jackson's hand is up. Okay. Milka, I don't think there's any other hand up. Maybe Jackson is encountering some challenges on some technical challenges. But Jackson, please feel free to also use the chat box so that we're able to address the matter. I think there was a question that had come up on how to file nil return. Please note that if you're having any challenge or rather how to actually file nil return, very straightforward. Let me just take you through it quickly, in which, remember, if you do not have any source of income to declare for the period in which you're filing. So let me quickly share a screen so that I show you how you're able to file a nil return. Now you come to returns and you click on file nil return. As stated, this is a test environment and we have just filed a return. So this might not pick, but you remember you just come to, let me start again. After you've logged onto your iTax profile, you come to returns. Under the tab of returns, there's file return, file amended return, as James had earlier asked, and then view file return. Then there's file nil return. What I walked all of you through was income tax return for employment income only. Now you click here on file nil return and it takes you to a field where you have to fill in mandatory. So you select income tax resident individual and you click next. And now you see, because we already filed the return for 2023, it prompts and tells me that I cannot file return for the period of 1st of January 2024 to 31st of December 2024, which can be filed after, meaning it can be filed on 1st of January 2025. So this, if you have not filed, it automatically just takes you to that. It asks you for a prompt. Are you sure you have no source of income to declare? You select yes. Then if there's no withholding, if there's no return that has been given maybe or submitted by your employer, it takes you automatically to file your nil return. Milka, I think I have covered that aspect of individual filing of returns. That's okay.
Paris, you've done your best. Actually, it's like you've trained. What are we going to train on in June now that you've trained almost everything? Anyway, we still have something. The topic is wide. There's one question from YouTube that we also have to recognize them, and thanks to YouTube listeners. How do you file if you have worked for more than one organization within the period of a year? Over to you, Paris.
Okay, thank you very much, Milka. The question is, how do you file if you have worked for more than one organization for more than a year? The good thing about the income tax return, the Excel one, is that it asks, do you have any employment income to declare? You say yes. And of course, you also get the P9s or the form of acknowledgement from the different organizations. And on the first section, it allows you to actually put all the pins of the employers together with the amount, together with the, so basically you get the pin, the name of the organization, the amount, and it's easy for you to actually put in those details. You can also visit our website, www.kra.go.ke, and go onto the tab that selects how to file return income return, and it gives you that option to add a row. So if you have more than one employer, automatically, which you may have worked for the year of 2023, it gives you that option to actually add that in. And it's also your right to ask for them to actually give you the same P9 if you are there for 6 months and maybe another 6 months you are elsewhere. It's your right to ask for them to give you your P9 form. Milka, I hope I have answered that question as I also take another glass of water.
Thank you, Paris. I think you've covered a lot. You've covered this. If you have a CBC person in your house, you know there's meeting. Is it approaching, meeting, exceeding? You've exceeded, if you ask me, because you've really answered all the questions. And also, Susan, thank you so much for responding to the questions of the chat box. I believe there's no question that has been left unattended. How do you file withholding tax for? I can see there's still questions. There's so many. I don't know how much time you have for us, Paris, because I can see on the chat box. Susan, are you there for the chat box? Are you responding to them? I can't see you there now. You disappeared at one point.
Milka, Susan is there. Yeah, you know, we're basically trying to juggle. So I think as much as it's International Women's Month, as we juggle through these questions,
yes, I understand.
Yeah, we'll
because
just
I
call
can
on to your
see
patience.
we have questions on the chat box, but I wanted Susan to tackle that as you tackle the yeah, on this other side. Susan is tackling this side, you're tackling this side. So how much time do you have for us? Are you ready? Are you still available for more questions?
I'm available, and I'd like to also take you through the pay return, because I know as HR professionals, it's also important for all of you to understand how to go about filing of pay, or what it basically entails, as opposed to just the presentation, so that we can also allow our Muslim brothers
Thank you. Before we get to that, can we allow Jackson and Annette, only those two, to ask questions? Then we go to the next one.
Yes,
so
please.
Jackson, yes, Jackson, if you can unmute, kindly. If not, we go to Annette. Faster. Time is not on our side also. We need to release also our Muslim brothers, because we are doing this because of them, this timing because of them. From 12:30, they're supposed to break for prayer. So we also need to consider them. So Jackson, are you there? Annette, are you there? It's like Jackson has dropped off. Annette, please proceed.
Okay, good evening, good afternoon. My question is, I've always had a problem with logging into my iTax portal because of my password. It keeps on, it doesn't pick my password. So my question is, how do you reset passwords?
Okay. Thank you, Annette, for that question. So I'll show you how we can actually do it. So this is just an example. So you come here Annette, you able to see the screen?
Yes.
So you key in your PIN. Sorry, no, this is a test environment. So let's just go to iTax, sorry. So you come here as an example. So so this is just still an example so that we're able to see how to go about it. So you click next. It asks you here, forgot password or unlock account. You click there. Your PIN will be auto-populated. If it's not the correct PIN, kindly key in the correct PIN. And then you do the arithmetic equation and it gives you that, and then you're able to click submit. If you're not receiving any password in your registered iTax email address, kindly visit our nearest office so that we are able to update your email address. Maybe there could be something missing as opposed to itreading.com, maybe it was .co, or maybe there's a .meeting, or maybe it was typed in incorrectly. And then from there, we'll be able to serve you better.
Okay, I'm getting the email.
Mm-hmm.
After I pick the forget password, but now the problem comes in when I'm keying in the old password.
So the old password is basically the reset password that has been sent.
Which is the one I'm keying in, but it's not picking.
So you get special character with numbers. It's a mixed password. So for example, it can be a hyphen something like that. So that same password that you've keyed in and it asks you for old password is that same password that you keyed in.
And then the question is, if I reset, will it be like every time I try and log into the iTax filing the returns, I should always do the same thing, because I always do the same thing.
The arithmetic and putting in.
Paris.
Yes,
Can you allow us, Annette? Or Paris, can you have maybe one-on-one later with Annette so that we can proceed and finish? We go to the next presentation, kindly. You can give her your email address or contact, please, so that you can take her through step by step. If you allow us, please, so that we proceed to the next step, so that by 1 we should be out. Thank you.
That's okay. So,
Annette,
I'll
kindly.
quickly just.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll put in the contact details so that it's easy for us to see how we can be served. Next question.
Can we proceed to the next presentation as promised? You said you're going to do the PAYE, or you are done with the presentations? Yes. Please proceed to the next. So that we wind up at 1 p.m.
Not to worry, Milka.
Thank you.
I know now it's a matter of going into crunch time, and in case of any questions, please feel free to just take a screenshot of this.
The contacts are there. Yes.
Yes, so that Annette can also just reach out to any of my colleagues in the call center so that we're able to help her or any other person. And feel free to also visit any of our different tax service offices.
Thank you. I will also request members that after this presentation, for any questions, please have these contacts right to KRA, because after this presentation, we'll end the webinar. So proceed. So there'll be no more question, tafadhali. We started at 10 and time, some have requested, they really want to leave, but they can't leave because of, so please go ahead, proceed, Paris.
Okay. Thank you, Milka. As members, once again, thank you very much. And as I have taken you through income tax return, Milka, it looks like we might have to, we might have to, we shall have to schedule a proper session in which I can take you all through PAYE, because it covers the benefits, it covers the persons living with disability, it covers the different thresholds and the different tabs in which we're supposed to actually go through that the return. Sorry, I think my voice wants to leave us, but it will not leave before we finish this
Yeah.
sensitization.
Okay.
So let me just show all of you how we are able to log in as an example for when it comes to filing of PAYE. Just give me a minute. You'll allow me to log in because it is still going to be another test environment, so that we're able to see if the 20 minutes, as much as they're very short, let's see what we can cover within the remaining 20 minutes, and then we'll be able to call it a day.
Oh, okay. Paris, you're still there?
Yes, I am. I'm just logging onto a test environment.
I
So
thought
I'm
the
trying to
voice
log on.
went. I thought the voice went and you disappeared. I was like, okay, which Paris? I can't see. Okay, so you are logging into something. Okay.
Yes. So I'm logging
That's
into a test environment for
Okay.
us to understand how to file returns. I know most of the members logged in here always leave this to the accountants to do the filing of return, and we always say that knowledge is power, and it's always good for us to ensure that we equip you with the necessary power to understand how is it that you're able to file your PAYE returns. So you'll just tell me if you're able to see my screen. Just give me a minute. I know I need to reshare it. So are we all together? So this is just an example of how you log in onto the onto iTax. You always have to do the arithmetic equation. This is to ensure that you're not a robot, and it's also a security feature on our iTax portal. So you put in the PIN, you put in the password, and you're able to log in. So when it comes to returns, this is where you come for the payee, and you select income tax company and you click next. Oh, sorry. I think we're having a bit of an, just give me a minute. Let me try it again.
Okay, Paris, if you're trying to share the screen.
Yes, I am, so that we are able to see how we are able to file pay returns. So we come to file return. And we select the obligation, which is payee income tax, which is the pay as you earn obligation. and it takes you there. So now, as you can see, it's a unified payroll for PAYE, NSSF, and HIF return form. I'm hoping here Judy will be able to answer your question. Now for here, it asks you to download a unified payroll return form, which is compatible with Excel. And this is basically the one which is recommended. This other one is usually, the first one is usually if the transaction is not large. So basically, if it's just maybe one employee, you can download it. But we always recommend that you download the second one for for Microsoft Office. So we'll quickly download so that we're able to see how to file the returns. It gives us this. Let me just stop share so that I'm able to open it with much ease. Just give me a minute. I'm trying to open it. Milka, just bear with me.
No problem. So someone is asking me here, if you from KRA, you're having difficulties logging in, what about the others? What about the others? If you're one of the employees that you're having issues. Sembuze wengine.
No, I'm also a taxpayer, so this one automatically cuts across. And as earlier mentioned, that I'm using a test environment. The reason for the test environment is so that we're able to go through this, and if we are having any challenges, at least it does not automatically reflect on the PIN, and for us to see how best to actually do that as well. That's why I've said I'm using a test environment to enable all of us to understand how it is to file the pay as you earn return. Milka, if this persists, I'll just have to share with you the PAYE guide so that it enables everyone to also access it.
Can see comments as Paris is trying to get to log in. I can see we have comments. Paul, thank you for the. Yes, this is good. This has been very insightful in regards to iTax. Kindly may such training be rescheduled by HRM. This is great, and thanks to Paris. Yes, we have a training, a paid one now, not free. We have a training coming up in June. You can please try register and attend that training. It's a 5 days training, so that means you learn a lot during that time. And then we have, can they please address the issue? These are questions. These questions, I believe Susan will be able to handle them on the chat box. Paris, once you are ready, you just let me know. I'm just trying to.
No problem. I'm trying to resolve it. Okay.
Okay. So Paris, kindly share your contacts. Paris shared contacts, and think she will also share at the end of this presentation the contacts to reach out to in case you have issues. What is the way forward for those who are overpaying the pay? Susan will answer that. The contact, people asking, I thought you shared your contact. You share the screen here, the contacts, I mean. This will be shared at the end of this presentation, so don't worry. Though Susan already shared, so not Susan, Paris already shared, but she will still do that at the end of this webinar. We only have 10 minutes to go. So Teresia, please let me know who I should reach out to as a customer service. Teresia, you can use the contacts that Paris shared. I believe they'll be able to assist you. Most of them are questions. This has been a very insightful session. Thank you so much, Anna, for even joining us. Yes, Paris, are you there?
Yes. I'm still here. I have not gone anywhere.
Continue.
So in such a case, you always have to enable your macro. And in such a case, I think the form that I downloaded is having a bit of a challenge to disable the macros. However, please be assured, Milka, I don't know how we can rectify or enable how to take the members through the PAYE guide so that we don't rush through, because this is basically where I am with the technical challenge. So at I want to see if we're able to access the one which is actually on the website so that we're able to see how to go about it. For filing of pay, it's basically almost the same way you file for individual, but now this at this juncture, it is you as an organization who's actually filing of the return for the company. Now, when you log on to our KRA website, which is www.kra.go.ke, you'll be able to access the pay return filing guide and manual so that we're able to take you through that. And once again, members, please forgive the technical hitch that I have incurred at the tail end of what has been one of the smoothest engagements when we're going through this process of filing the returns. So Milka, what I'll just share with Milka so that she's able to disseminate it to the members is on the PAYE guide on how to actually file the returns. It's very simple. You log in as from the first page, the PIN number, the password, you do the arithmetic equation, you go step onto the returns, download the Excel document, which takes you through filling in the details. Of course, you'll need the PIN numbers of your employees, the name, together with the amount and the allowable deductions that are actually there. In cases where there are car benefits, housing allowances, which was actually asked in term from one of the members earlier on, and also maybe if you have secondary employees, how you actually fill it in. It ensures that you put in all the details that are required. And on the first form, it always asks, is it a primary employee or a secondary employee? Then you're able to put in the right amount. And then it also allows you to do the put in the right figures. If there are any benefits, you also have to include them. And in such situations, if you're having any challenges, I'll share with Milka the PAYE guide, which she'll actually share with all of you. And you can also access it from our KRA website, in which you're able to get the PAYE guide and download it. Kindly note as we wind up, before I hand over to Milka, would like to state that once the SHIF is gazetted, it will be communicated on the deduction of these payments for relief purposes. And please note that NHIF was also communicated and even gazetted, as we do not anticipate any gap in this regard. So from my colleague Susan and I, as a part of the KRE team who were holding this engagement, we'd like to thank you very much, the IHRM putting together over 300 members to actually join us from morning to now. And thank you very much for being for enabling us to give you the opportunity to understand the income tax pay, how to file your returns, as we also anticipate for a fruitful deliberation and another engagement coming forward. On behalf of the Chief Manager for Taxpayer Services and also on behalf of the Commissioner of Domestic Taxes, we'd like to thank you once again and wish you a wonderful afternoon. Na tuendelee kulipa ushuru ndo tujitegemee. Over to you, Milka.
Thank you so much, Paris. That was so good. That was not just a webinar, it was a training. Thank you. Actually, no one is even appreciating HRM. I can only say thank you, Paris and Susan. Where is HRM? We'll not have again a brief webinar next week, but anyway, na later note. Thank you so much, Paris. You've done so well. You've really enlightened members, and I can assure you that the members now know what they're supposed to do. We really appreciate Susan. Also on your side, you've done your best responding to questions, and to KRA team or KRA as an organization, thank you for nominating Paris and Susan for this webinar. So I would like to have one person, the first person to raise their hand, to give vote of thanks. Yes, this one is not coming from me, it's coming from you as delegates. So the first person to raise their hands will give vote of thanks. So I'm waiting. 3 minutes to 1. Who is going to appreciate? You unmute, then speak.
Yes, hello.
Hey! Mary, who is speaking? I can see Anita's hand is up. Someone is also. Okay, allow me to give Anita Mawia. Anita, please give vote of thanks. Thank you. Unmute, then speak.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to thank the KRA team for deciding to give us an educational thing about the whole functions of the KRA. It's been so insightful and it's timely. I believe it's the time of the year where all of us are planning to file our returns, and some we are planning also to earn an extra income in assisting others in filing their returns. So at least we've learned something new, and we look forward to such sessions. Thank you all and have a great afternoon, and Ramadan Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Thank you, Anita. Paris, you can also display the contacts for members to have them, and allow me also to give Esbon, and as a gentleman, also to give vote of thanks. Esbon, remember this month is Ladies International Women's, so you should also say something. Anyway, go ahead, Esbon. If you're there, if you're able to unmute, I can give you that chance to represent men in the house. Esbon, I saw your hand up. Okay. Esbon drops off. So thank you so much, members. It's now 1 o'clock, time for lunch. And also to
Milka, allow me to interrupt.
Who
I
is
think
that?
this is
Please
Meredy.
don't. Wow, okay. Please go
This
ahead.
is it would be very unfair if we don't mention Paris. I think
If
she
we
has
don't
done a
mention,
wonderful Paris.
yes,
She has done a wonderful, wonderful job. It's not just the presentation, her eloquence, her time, her dedication, her energy. I think it is just worthy to mention that she has given herself all out for us. It is just worthy to mention that if we were to give her marks, would be outstanding. So
yes.
we give thanks to her and to the commissioner, whoever her boss is, let him or her receive the, which word should I use? Let her know, let him or
That
her
one.
know that she has done an excellent job.
Thank you, Marilyn. And remember, she was ready even to continue with the conversation, with the presentation.
Can you
Eh?
imagine? Yes.
She was very much ready to continue with the presentation. But unfortunately, time on our side and also from members could not allow. Marilyn, I hope you are done, or you still want to continue?
Yes. No, I'm done. Thank you. Thank you, Paris. Have a blessed
So
week.
you've not appreciated HRM, Cynthia? Ni sawa tu. Ni sawa
HRM
tu.
as well for providing the platform. Absolutely. HRM. But we know that you're giving us the opportunity to be
Yes.
you're going to give the bigger platform where I hope Paris will be there also for the bigger training.
I hope she'll be nominated to represent Henry.
We want to see
We
her
pray
face to
so.
face. You know, she hid her face. We don't even know who she is.
By the way,
Milka,
Paris.
I have appreciated IHRM, Milka.
Hey, so go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead, Judith.
No, I have appreciated you on the chat. I've said thank you. I've
saw
said
it.
thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for organizing this free webinar for us. We are very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you. We really appreciate you guys. Members, ladies, by the way, before I forget, we have the 5th Women in HR Convention coming up, 25th to 29th. You should not miss. Please plan to attend. It's gonna be lit. So organize yourself for that. If you are sponsoring yourself, you can do me an email. We see how we can give a small discount. That if you are sponsoring yourself. I'm not saying that. So Judith, you normally attend such events, so please don't miss 5th Women in HR Convention coming up on 25th to 29th March at the English Point, Mombasa. Asanteni sana members.
I'll
Paris.
purpose to attend.
Thank you, Paris. People would like to see, members would like to see you. Can we just, though I know some have dropped off, but just now that you're done with them, they would love to see this lady who was taking her time to take us through. If that possible, if it is not possible, it's okay, Paris. It is just a request. But asante sana.
Not to worry, Milka.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your kind words and also just your touching feedback.
Yes.
I believe that I have been a wonderful representative and an ambassador of
Yes.
KRA, and it goes to show how friendly you are. And as much as you'd like to see my face today, I apologize that it may not be seen today, but God willing, hopefully when we interact soon. And I hope that the poster did much justice for you to actually see who I am.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Mbarikiwe, and I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful Friday and weekend ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy your Friday and weekend. See you next Friday. Time. The next trainer, the next speaker is confirmed 3 to 4:30 next Friday. So keep checking our social media for the flyer. See you. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye from HRM. See you next time. Bye. You can unmute as usual and say bye.
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 Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Tunakujana kila mtu.
See you next time. Thank you. God bless.
Eh.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hey, Gregory.
Hello, everyone.
Your bye-bye.
Kindly send the link for registration. Resend.
Oh, you did not register.
Yes, kindly.
Okay, I hope my team has listened to your request. I don't know how possible that is after this presentation, because I thought it was only possible here, but I hope your request has been heard. I hope it will be sent. Thank you.
So I hold on here.
Yes, you can hold on. Yes, you can hold on. You can hold on before yes, you can hold on for the link.
Okay.
The team IT, yes.
Because it's recorded, is it possible to get a recording of this session?
Recording, you can go to HRM YouTube. It's there. You'll find it there. Yeah.
Very good. Nice work.
Phoebe, thank you for sharing this. So, Doreen, there's the link, please.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Yes.
When you put it,